Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to take a look at the new and updated Nokia 6.1 2018 edition. Okay, so this is the Nokia 6.1 or Nokia 6 2018 edition. Now this has just been released beginning of April 2018, and this model is to replace the older version, the Nokia 6, which was released in 2017, which you can see a review of if you click up here. Now, unfortunately, that model, although it looked great and it felt great, it lacked some serious horsepower when it came to processing. So with this updated version, they've included and upgraded a few of the key features. So first of which is the SoC, or the processor, has been upped from the Qualcomm 430 up to the new 630. So that gives roughly about 30% increase in speed or thereabouts, and also is a far more efficient CPU or GPU or SoC, however you want to look at it. It's a lot more efficient and it's based on the 14nm fabrication process. So that should equate to faster speeds and better battery life. Also upgraded are the 16-megapixel Zeiss camera for the rear, and also the 8-megapixel shooter on the front is also upgraded. So that's another great bonus. Also, they've moved the fingerprint reader from the front to the back. A lot of people complain that the original one, the fingerprint reader on the front, was very small, very narrow, and in the front position wasn't ideal. Now they've moved it to the rear, so it's got a nice tactile feel to it. So that's enough about the upgraded features. Let's actually take this thing out of the box and see what we get for our money. Now, talking of money, this at the moment is retailing primarily from Carphone Warehouse and Courage in the UK, and you're looking at about £229 sterling. Prices are available all around the world, but at the moment in the UK, that's the best I can get it for. Now, this is actually the 3GB and 32GB model. There is going to be a variant of this with 4GB and 64GB coming soon in a few months, but I couldn't wait, so I had to get my hands on it. So let's unbox it and see what we get. So there we have the phone itself. This version is the black version with the copper accent. I'll put that to one side for the moment. We'll get back to that in a minute, but let's have a look at the accessories and see what else we get in the box. So one of the usual suspects inside here is the SIM release tool, which doesn't want to come out, so I'll leave it in there. You get your Nokia Getting Started with Nokia 6.1 manual, and I presume there'll be some sort of warranty leaflet. Yeah, product and safety, I'm so excited I can barely speak. Product and safety manual and getting started. Now, what's going to be in here? Hopefully, this is another one of the upgraded features of this particular thing, which is the USB-C connection. So we get the Old Faithful, the Nokia USB adapter with the pull-out prong, which actually seems massive. Now the reason behind that being massive is because this supports quick charge out of the box. So more capacitors, more energy going through it, more heat generated, so it has to be bigger, unfortunately. It's a shame they couldn't have designed it so it's a bit flatter, because that's going to be a real pain getting that to fit behind my bedside cabinet, but I digress on that. So that's the fast charger out of the box. I can't see what it says on there, so I'll put it there, and I'll put it in the description later. So what else do we get? Now, hopefully, yes, this is going to be what I think it is. USB Type-C, which is a long overdue addition to this particular model of phone. The Nokia 6, the original one, had micro USB. This has got USB-C, so no messing around with which way in it goes in both ways. And on the other end, obviously, the USB Type A. So again, fast charge out of the box. They reckon that a half charge, 50% charge, can be attained in about 30 minutes on a fast charge. So bearing in mind that's a 3000 mAh battery, that's pretty good going. Also in the included accessories, is a what I can only describe as underwhelming set of earphones. So it does appear to have a microphone built in as well, so you can listen to music or have a conversation. There's no button on here to press to end calls, which is a bit of a shame, but as a free accessory, not great, but at least it's there. So that's all the accessories. Let's unwrap the phone and see how nice it actually is. Okay, so here it is. This is the slab of metal that I've been waiting for. This is one solid piece of 6000 grade aluminium, whatever that means, I haven't got a clue, but it feels nice. And it's got a very nice kind of copper accent around the outside of it to sort of lift the design a little bit. Let's open it up and have a closer look. It's well packaged. And there it is. So on the front you've got Gorilla Glass 3 protection, 5.5 inch screen, HD resolution, so that's 1080 1920. Going around what we've got on here, so you've got your earpiece at the top next to the 8 megapixel front facing camera. No flash on this unfortunately for the front, but it's not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. It may be to you, but it isn't to me. One thing I've noticed already is there's no notification LED on here, but all is not lost. It does support the glance feature, which is I think is specifically a Nokia feature, where the screen will run in a very, very low power mode, but any notifications will come up on the screen so they're visible. You may like that, you may not like that, but that's what it comes with, so that's what you get. Towards the bottom, you've got the microphone port, the USB-C, and a single speaker, which apparently is quite loud, but it actually is a bit of a downgrade from the previous Nokia 6 model, which had stereo speakers where the earpiece actually doubled up as a speaker. Although, in my opinion, when I tried using that, the sound was not really stereo because it was quite muffled coming from the earpiece. It wasn't nowhere near as loud as the bottom facing or bottom firing speaker. And also the Dolby system that incorporated actually caused all kinds of problems on my particular phone. Whether that was one-off or whether that was a popular thing that happened, I'm not too sure, but at least with this you've got a single speaker, you don't have to worry about things like that. And also, being the fact it's actually bottom firing rather than back firing, is if you put it onto a surface and you're listening to a YouTube video such as this one, or you're listening to music or a late night podcast, something like that, the sound is still going to come out and you're going to be able to hear it rather than being muffled by being on a surface. So that's a nice placement of the speaker. There's a little bit of rock to the phone, so it's not a completely flat slab. I personally prefer that. Some may not, but I actually do. So talking of the rear, looking on the back, you've got the 16 megapixel Zeiss lens on the back with a dual tone flash. Underneath there you've got the fingerprint reader, which actually, yeah, it's quite a nice placement, and also it's quite easy to actually find it because there's a slight hump where the camera and the lens is. So as you're feeling towards the back, if you feel just beneath the hump, that is where your fingerprint reader is. So it's nice and easy to locate, very tactile. I quite like the feel of it. Talking of tactile, the edges are similar to previous Nokia designs, so you've got like a flat edge, but because of the way it's been machined, it actually feels quite grippy. Even though the back surface is like a matte finish, it's not slippy, but it's got a nice tactile feel to it, so yeah, I like that a lot. You've obviously got the Nokia branding, and underneath there, oh, this is picking up fingerprints already, underneath there, the really important reason why I wanted this phone, and I've gone out on the second day after launch to buy it, is Android One. Now, this phone supports the Android One operating system. If you're not sure what that is, I'll provide a link you can click on and you can find out more about it. But essentially what it means is it's a lot easier for manufacturers to push out updates to phones. They don't have to worry about combining their update with the software to the core operating system. They can actually release security updates and patches I believe HMD are actually planning to release on a monthly basis. So if you buy one of these, you're safe in the knowledge that you're going to get regular updates, which if you go back to one of my previous videos, like the P8 Lite, it was a very nice budget phone, but unfortunately the updates on it have been so slow in coming, which is the same for most of the Huawei phones, Sony phones, and quite a few of the other big players. So that is why I've decided personally to go with phones which use Android One, purely for the updates. And speaking of updates, Nokia, or HMD, have pretty much guaranteed that the Nokia 6.1 is going to be good for updates through Android P and Android Q when it's released. So you're looking at least a 2-year life cycle, which in my mind is a great thing. So regular updates, which for me is a selling feature on its own. I'm quite happy to pay a slight premium in price over some of the budget phones from people like Huawei and Xiaomi and the other Chinese brands. I'm pretty much confident that Nokia are going to come good with their promises, and there will be regular updates. So that is a very nice thing to see. So I think that's pretty much everything covered. On the side, you've got the usual suspects. You've got the volume rocker up and down, which has got a very nice sort of clicky tactile feel to it, and you've got the wake, resume, and power button on there just below it. So that's very nice. Won't power it on just yet. And coming around to this side is the SIM card slot. I managed to get the SIM tool out. So the SIM tray supports nano SIM plus micro SD. You can actually put a additional SIM card in there. The primary slot supports 4G. The secondary slot only supports 2G and 3G. So if you want to use two 4G SIMs at the same time, you can't, unfortunately, which is pretty much the same with most phones these days. So dual SIM capability, and you can put an SD card in to increase the storage. The storage, which I think I probably mentioned already, is 32 gigs as standard, and 3 gigs of RAM, which to me is more than enough. I've got a 4 gig P10 Lite at the moment with 32 gigs of RAM, and it's absolutely fine. I never go over sort of 2.5 gigs in general usage anyway, even in gaming, so 3 gigs of RAM is going to be more than enough. So let's power it on and see what it's like. So comes up with the Android One logo. I'm hoping for a wake tone, or sorry, a startup noise. Please. There's Nokia branding. Yeah, there it is, the Nokia tone. Doesn't matter how old you get, Nokia ringtone is always a very nostalgic sound. We like that a lot. So there's the welcome screen. I'm not going to go through the setup on this because it would bore the hell out of you, but from what I can tell at the moment, even under these kind of studio condition lights, the screen is very readable, and the automatic brightness, which it's set to at the moment, is very clear, very crisp. The only thing I would mention is the screen is a 16:9 resolution rather than being the more common and more modern 18:9. So you do get quite a chunky bezel at the bottom and a little bit of a bezel at the top. But in my mind, this is a solid, durable phone, and it's designed for general consumption and use and to be reliable, which is what we all want a phone to be. I'd rather have a lesser featured phone than have a phone with everything under the sun but it crash all the time, or the microphone fail, or things like that. So that's enough waffling. This has been a brief unboxing and overview of the new Nokia 6.1 or Nokia 6 2018 edition. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.